Hi, everyone. I hope you're having a great day so far, and welcome to today's webinar, which will focus on Beyond Convenience with prefabricated OT hardware. So thanks again for taking the time out of your day to be here with both Bryon and myself, and we're excited to get started. So before we get started, I'd like to present a few tips to make sure everyone gets the most out of today's webinar. First off, it's easy to get distracted for all of us, especially we're all very busy and a lot of us working from home. So phone calls, texts, everything that comes through, please try your best to stay focused and engaged when you can. Again, another thing is to please take notes. So if you find something we discussed today particularly interesting, jot it down so you can remember it for later and in the future. On the right-hand side of the screen, you'll see a chat window. So if you do have any questions that pop up, pop them into the chat window, and we will address them in the Q&A session at the end. Obviously, we would love to hear from you, so please don't hesitate to reach out with any questions. And one thing to note that all questions are private and can only be seen by our team. Finally, we do have a couple poll questions to keep things interactive today, so please answer them as best you can, reflecting your current circumstances as they pertain to OT hardware. Today, we will be covering off the value that prefabricated hardware can bring to your customers, as well as Systec Solutions hardware overview to showcase products that are best suited for the OEM and GMP spaces. So for anyone just joining, welcome. My name is Emily Patterson, and I am a senior manager for the distribution team here at Grantek. I've been with Grantek for nearly 6 years, focusing primarily on the life sciences industry, assisting companies in determining and deploying GMP hardware to their facilities. And as I mentioned, I'm also joined by my colleague, Bryon Hayes, whom I'll hand it over to now.
Thanks, Emily. So yeah, again, my name is Bryon Hayes. I'm the Director of Consulting in Life Sciences at Grantek. This month, I actually just had my 22nd anniversary of employment with the company, so I'm a long-term employee. I started, though, as a fresh-faced engineer straight out of school, and my career has actually grown with the company. So my primary focus has also been in the life sciences industry, where I've implemented and managed countless automation and information projects. But as the consulting director, I engage with our customers in leveraging digital solutions within the pharma, biopharma, and med device industries. I help with road mapping and technology curation and solution architecting. And in the industry, I'm actually actively engaged with the ISPE. I'm a member of the board of directors of the Canada affiliate, and I've also been involved for a while in the Pharma 4.0 community of practice.
Great. So we're very lucky to have Bryon on the call with us today. And to kick it off, we are going to start with our first poll question. So as an OEM, what is your biggest challenge when it comes to OT hardware? A few different options. There's too many different components that make up an entire system, having to redesign and re-engineer the system with every change from a supplier or suppliers, multiple suppliers for each component, lack of standardization of the various components, and then obviously other if you're not an OEM. So feel free to answer the poll. All right, thanks so much, everybody. We'll keep moving forward.
Okay, so I'll start by kind of talking through what the value is to you, the OEM, of using pre-built IT and OT hardware as a solution. Most of you would likely prefer to focus on your core solution, the equipment, whether it be the process equipment or QC lab test equipment. You want to leave the IT and OT details to those who you trust to deliver in that space. It's also more efficient to use pre-built solutions. It reduces the amount of time your engineers and designers spend on that aspect of your machinery. It reduces the time and the labor needed to build it. and it reduces the overall complexity. The results are that you're able to get more of your equipment out faster. Additionally, the hardware comes with all of the documentation, such as electrical drawings, cut sheets, and manuals. So you're not chasing down documents to include in your turnover packages at the end of the project. And if you're leveraging thin client technology, there are even more efficiencies. Most of the pre-built IT and OT equipment comes either thin manager or iGel ready. So it's quick and painless to integrate it into a distributed or site-wide system. That being said, it's also capable of being implemented standalone if that's the need. Additionally, the vendors typically partner with at least one of the most common industrial software companies. So you're getting a solution that supports your HMI, your SCADA, or your MES needs without having to do extensive modifications to the equipment or the operating system. And when it comes to validation, pre-built IT and OT hardware is an easy way to reduce the burden. Less customization leads to a lower validation effort, which in turn reduces the overall cost of implementation. When you work with pre-built hardware, you're also working with a pre-qualified vendor providing a tried and true solution, which allows for a reduction in risk and a lower GAMP hardware category. And this lessens the amount of IQ testing you'll need to do at the end of the day. For the customer, pre-built IT and OT hardware leads to a reduction in the overall cost of ownership. The support and warranty provided by the vendor makes maintaining the equipment easier. The customer gets an industry standard solution that's encapsulated in a panel built for the clean room, an all-in-one piece of equipment. Innovative customers also get access to the most modern technology, such as PCT touchscreens, which enable multi-touch functionality, as well as biometric authentication, which can be built into the provided hardware. Training and SOPs are also typically provided by the vendors. These are value-added necessities for the customer, and you can include it in your overall package, and which is value added to your overall equipment delivery. And by buying an encapsulated solution for IT and OT hardware, there's a reduction in overall spare parts, which this leads to a reduction in the required inventory the customer needs to have on hand.
Thanks so much, Bryon, for going through all of that. So next up, we have our second and last poll question. So where does your equipment typically live within the manufacturing process? Is it within the process side? Is it within primary packaging or secondary packaging? Perfect. Okay. Thanks so much for voting. So next up, I'm going to kind of take over for the next few slides. Grantek is the exclusive North American distributor for Systec Solutions hardware based out of Germany. Systec offers a wide variety of GMP-IT hardware that is useful within the life sciences industry. But today I'm really going to focus on three major product groupings, starting with the Wave, which is what we're seeing here. So this is just a little video to showcase what the product looks like. So the Wave product line is an all-in-one unit ranging from a display monitor only to a full IPC, can run up to i7. They are IP65 encapsulated in stainless steel housing, so they are designed for the GXP environments. As you can see, kind of from this video, Systec has created a very modern design with rounded edges, so there's no concern for entrapment and microbial contamination. And these products are designed for function style, but really ultimately cleanability for the spaces that they're meant to be in. The Wave comes in sizes from 21 inches all the way up to 55, so lots of variety in terms of end user needs. And it can also be configured on a variety of different support arms, mobile workstations, and laboratory workstations. as well as there's a lot of different peripheral devices. So depending on the needs of the end user and the needs of the equipment itself, Systec has a variety of different mounting solutions that are suitable for various different mounting arrangements, swivel options, rotating options. So as you can see, there's a lot of different solutions. Systec is able to also provide custom solutions if and when it would be needed. But today I'm really going to focus on two of those and what we would see most when we're working with equipment directly. So the YouTube as well as the direct wall mount, they're both outlined in blue on the slide in front of you. The YouTube has the ability to rotate 350 degrees, which is super important when considering where an operator may be standing in relation to the physical equipment, and provides the ultimate flexibility when it comes to movement. As well as the direct wall mount is another great option for customers when we're seeing the need to fixate onto some form of piece of equipment. So just a couple of the mounting solutions. Like I said, there's a ton available, but those are the primary ones I wanted to touch on right now. Next up, like I mentioned, Systec products are designed for GXP GMP conditions and are resistant to harsh cleaning agents that would be used within these spaces. They are also operable with up to 3 layers of gloves. So a lot of the times within these spaces, different layers of gloving is necessary. That's all been tested and currently in use. So here you can see a visual of a chromatography skid showcasing Systec's Wave keyboard, as well as the YouTube mounting arrangement that I reviewed in the prior slide. So as you can see, Systec products are not only very technically sound, but they are very visually appealing and add to a level of professionalism to the end user experience, which is always a benefit for everyone. Next up would be our control. So the control is designed to offer a very low installation depth for any space constraints that we're seeing where full functionality is still needed. It is designed for panel mounting ranging from 17 to 32 inches. And again, can run as a monitor only all the way up to a full IPC. So like I said, very low installation depth is very beneficial when you are working with some type of panel mount. You don't want it to be taking up a ton of space. And then similar to the Wave and all other Systec products, the control can be used within the clean room with different layers of gloves. So there are various ways that the control can be mounted to a panel or some type of piece of equipment. And Systec has created a new and exciting time-saving way to install using a magnetic mount. So this is a super exciting and cool new feature that really sets aside Systec products from others. Like I mentioned, there are different ways that they can be mounted depending on what's needed for your equipment. So provides a lot of flexibility in terms of mounting arrangements. So it could be flush mount, it could be installed from the rear with a stainless steel plate, and it could also have front installation with a stainless steel frame. One thing to consider with these products is in the event that there is ever a need for repair or a replacement is needed, the end user would simply only need to apply suction cups to the control, pull on the control device, and it would become loose from the magnetic mounts. So this is super important when considering the benefits of the control when it comes to time savings for the end user. We do always recommend to have spare devices on site to ensure that there is minimal downtime. So just something to consider. Next up, Systec has put together 3 standard versions of their HMIs based on their many years of experience working with customers within the GMP sector. So these versions are tailored to the specific requirements for the main applications that may be running, which helps you to quickly identify the exact system that is right for you, your customer, and opens the door to a whole host of benefits. The versions range from the endpoint which is designed for thin clients, the all-round, which is a great solution for fat clients or PC solutions, and the performance is really used for fat clients that require a lot of computing power locally. One thing to note is that Systec has Thin Manager ready hardware for all end users utilizing Rockwell's Thin Client solution. So something to consider. And if the standard versions aren't exactly what would be required for an end user, then Systec can always work with you to come up with a custom solution that would be beneficial for everybody. Next up are keyboards. So Systec has two different keyboards. It really just comes down to preference of operators. So the glass keyboard and the membrane keyboards have been developed specifically, again, for cleanroom environments, cleanroom applications, any type of cleaning agents that they would need to be resistant towards. The glass keyboard operates on capacitive principle with acoustic feedback, and the membrane keyboard provides tactile feedback, so similar to the keyboards that we're used to typing on day to day. Systec has designed, you can see the bottom images, a new click hinge feature for all keyboard types, which is a great time-saving solution for customers, again, in the event of a failure or a repair. Any level of employee would be able to swap out the keyboard in minutes, ultimately reducing, again, any downtime in production. Any type of quick replacement and repairs is always beneficial. So alongside the keyboard, Systec has designed RFID and NFC readers that can be integrated within the keyboards themselves or as a peripheral device. So as we know, regular logins, confirmations, electronic signatures in accordance with 21 CFR Part 11 take a lot of time and pose pretty high security risk. So electronic and biometric authentication solutions employing some type of RFID reader or a NIMI band, for example, allow for more efficient and secure working. So Systec's RFID and NFC readers are compatible with NIMI bands if you do have any end users who will be using them for biometric authentication. So that's always great. Next up, we have our Modi, which again is another great space-saving solution for digital signage and displaying, ranging from 7 inches, or so we have a 7-inch and a 10-inch solution. So fairly small scale, but great to display any type of room information that would be necessary or production status in digital format at a glance. So really great solution for that. Similar to the control, the Modi has been designed for ease of removal with the magnetic installation and can be operated with up to 3 layers of gloves as well. So really all Systec products have been tested for use with gloves. Another great feature of the Modi is that there is the option to use PoE, so power over Ethernet, and the Modi can also be incorporated into a network via Ethernet or Wi-Fi. So like I mentioned, again, it's the magnetic installation. So installation and removal is very easy for the Modi solution, similar to the control. You're using some suction cups, disconnecting a cable or two, and then you're done. So in the event that large cutouts are not possible within a panel or some form of equipment, Systec does also have an on-wall or on-panel solution, I guess we could call it, that really allows for, I guess, a less invasive approach to cutting out as a typical installation would. So that was a super brief overview of Systec Solutions hardware. There are a ton of different hardware components and customizations available through Systec. So again, this was just a very brief overview of the products that we do have, but provides a pretty good way to showcase what could potentially be used within the OEM space.
Okay, so now I'll summarize the key takeaways from our presentation. So when you're using prefabricated or pre-built IT and OT hardware, your total cost of ownership is reduced. You get the added benefit of training and maintenance from the vendor. You also get SOPs provided. You have a reduction in spare parts inventory because you're buying an all-in-one solution. Because it's prefabricated and pre-designed, you're reducing your GAMP hardware category. You're pre-qualifying your vendor, which is another way to reduce risk, which leads to less IQ testing required. And then for the OEM, you're reducing your design time. You're also reducing your build time and your labor required because you're buying the solution rather than building it yourself. And this ultimately reduces the complexity, which means that you can get more of your machines out faster. And the pre-built hardware comes with all the documentation you need, so like the electrical drawings, the cut sheets, and the manuals. And the Systec and Solutions hardware has efficiencies enabled because it comes thin client ready or thin manager ready, so you can leverage thin client technology.
Great, thanks, Bryon. So for next steps, really the first thing we would need to do is to evaluate the potential needs of the equipment itself, as well as the potential requirements of end users. So we could determine the best product that would be suited, any sort of mounting arrangements that would be needed for the equipment itself. One other thing that we do is we offer remote and in-person demos of our product line. So if something did spark your interest today and you're looking to investigate Systec products a little bit further, then we would love to be able to connect and discuss the hardware solutions in a little bit more depth than we did today. So yeah, those are our next steps. So feel free, again, we'll close it off in the next few slides, but if anything does come up in terms of questions, then feel free. So thanks everyone for taking some time to join the webinar today. We are going to open up the floor for any questions that you may have. So feel free to type those into the chat window if you haven't already, and we will answer them as they come in. If we don't get to your question, which I'm sure we should be able to get to all of them, don't worry, we'll send up a follow-up email after the webinar. I do see one question has come in, and that is, what is the process like if one of the units needs to be repaired? So that's a really great question. I touched on kind of some of the steps in terms of having spare units on site, but typically we would have the company reach out to either Systec or Grantek, and we would support the repair at one of our North American Grantek facilities where possible. The upside to Systec products is the ease of replacement, like I said, so really no downtime should happen. You unplug, plug in whatever's needing to be replaced, and then you're back up and running. We can work on the back end to getting everything resolved. So everything should be fairly easy in terms of downtime. But like I said, you would just reach out to Systec or Grantek, and we would start the process on our end to ensure that everything was done as quick as possible. The benefit to our repair process is you are working directly with Grantek and Systec to come to a resolution rather than needing to send out different components to different vendors. So that's definitely a benefit. Next question that came in are, what are the cost savings advantages when adopting Systec hardware? So the benefit to Systec is that we offer standardized all-in-one solution. We're essentially a one-stop shop for your hardware needs, and Systec products require and need minimal wiring and cables, reducing electrical installation time and validation efforts. So that's primarily where the cost savings would come in. And then lastly, this is another question that came in, what considerations should we keep in mind when selecting and customizing Systec's hardware? So the main thing I would say when considering Systec's hardware would be the potential mounting arrangements that are necessary for the equipment itself, the computing power that would be necessary for the end users, as well as any peripheral devices that would be needed. So keyboards, scanners, RFID, NFC readers, anything like that. Those are the main things that we would need to consider in initial calls. And then we should be able to provide some pretty good solutions based off that information. Just waiting to see if any other questions come in. I think that is all of them. So short and sweet today, really just a high-level overview of what Systec Solutions has to offer and how it could be beneficial to yourself and your company, as well as your end users. So thank you again, everyone, for taking the time to be here today. Just as a reminder, feel free to reach out to us via info@grantek.com with any questions that you may have. We'd love to hear from you. If you are looking for any demos, feel free to reach out regarding that as well. And then everyone who has registered and who is attending the webinar right now, you will receive a recording of this presentation. So keep an eye out for that. And thanks so much, and hope you all have a great rest of your day. And thanks again, Bryon, for joining.
Thanks, Emily, and thanks everyone for joining.
Great. Thank you.